You know me, I love those extreme sports,
Oh,
you know,
so
whether it's
right.
the motocross coming down there or those dirt bikes jumping over the leaves or the skateboard
Oh,
parks.
the
where
Tony Hawk.
They're going
Yeah.
way up in the air. I just love it when they hang it out on the edge.
Oh, well, it's because it's the thrill. They're always pushing it to the edge. They got to go more.
Yeah, but you know what I love? There's another extreme sport out there that's really pushing the envelope. It's called extreme parenting.
Okay, well, I'll tell you where you can find that one. Front row seat at a private elementary school. I'm telling you, I'm standing out there, mom against mom, of whose kids are involved in the most stuff.
Yeah, or you get that bumper sticker on the back. That's kind of their badge. Honor student from this high school,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Or then I've coached so many years of sports where you have the little league syndrome, where the parents are wanting their kids to be so successful, and if their little Johnny
everyone is going to be a pro.
The next pro, right there. And of course, then there's parents who are frustrated with their kids, how well they did. So what happens? You got one dad said, "Find your own ride home, son."
Okay, that is downright despicable. But and you know what? I don't really think that's most of us. I think most of us are saying, man, when it comes to being a mom or being a dad, I want to get an A on my report card. Like, I really want to do a good job.
Yeah, but you know, we depend so much of our worth on our kids' worth. You know, if they do well, we do well. And so, you know, we're just trying to do our best, those parents.
I'm laughing because it is, I think, far easier to go to the extreme than it is to try to find the balance in the middle. I know it is with me. I used to teach high school, and so when it comes to education, I have extreme expectations for my kids. Yeah. When it comes to their time and the effort they put into their projects, I need to back off.
Yeah, but you're not the only one there. I kind of pushed my kids too. I have this critical side where I'm constantly evaluating and pushing them to the limit. You know, sometimes I actually really put them down, but I found so much more would help if I was their fan. I encouraged them.
Yes.
It made such a difference.
Yes, I tell you, but it's not just the parents who go to the extreme. The kids go to the extreme too.
They do.
I tell you, my youngest, all I want is his room clean. And he comes back to me, Mom, it always has to be perfect.
Yeah, or they have Josh's parents, let him do this, let him do that.
Oh, yeah.
How
You
come I have
never.
to?
Exactly.
Right. But you know what? I wonder, Christy, are you not the only extreme parents?
Okay, we're hoping that we're not. In fact, we're counting on it, okay? We're trusting that there's a whole lot of you out there struggling with this. And as you're listening, you're thinking, oh my goodness, that's me. But how do I find the balance as a parent? Well, you want to talk about it, and we've got some answers, so that's exactly what we're going to do. Stay with us. Avoiding parenting extremes. Well, I'll tell you what, like a pendulum, I swung my parenting all the way to the other side because I wanted to do things so differently than my parents did.
So perfectly.
And so you're thinking, poor children of Christie.
So over the top, if you know what I'm saying. But some of you have the same problem. So if you're going to go off the deep end, don't take your kids with you. Title of a book with our author today, international speaker, and a wonderful friend, gifted counselor, Kelly Nault. Good to have you back to Marriage Uncensored. Now we got this issue of expectations. What are reasonable expectations? How do you know if it's too far or too little in your expectations of your kids?
You know, a lot of times we focus on the expectations of our kids, but really what we want to look at is what are the expectations that we have of ourselves? Because you mentioned this, Christy, at the very beginning you said, I want to be perfect, I want to do things completely
Actually, he
different.
said I wanted to be perfect, but yes,
pardon
I
me.
did.
It's true. Don't argue, it's true.
Pardon me.
Yes.
But so a lot of times, I think what we really have to look at is what are our expectations as parents? 'Cause sometimes we want to do and give so much, which lends itself to being too extreme and too hard on our own kids. Sometimes the hardest thing we have to deal with is being so tough on ourselves. And when we're tough on ourselves, guess who else we are tough on? Our whole entire family. And they feel that. So I think that that's number one, the first step we want to look at.
Is to look at ourselves.
Absolutely.
And what we're expecting of ourselves. What would you say is the next thing?
The next thing is, are you fun for your kids to be around?
Okay, I really like that because I remember a time in parenting my kids that I thought, my husband is way more fun to be around than I am. And I thought he got to have the good times.
And how did your kids respond?
They would rather wrestle and get tickled with dad.
See, and this
than
is
mom saying all the things they need to be doing.
I have parents all the time say, oh my gosh, what do I do with my kids? They're bouncing off the walls. But a lot of times kids are bouncing off the walls because they're so desperate for your attention. And negative attention is better than no attention at all. Right. So at least if you're fun to be around, then you're going to enjoy the process as well. I remember this very strongly. One of the things I used to say with the boys, I used to say, you know what? I need a timeout. My batteries are low. I need to go recharge my batteries. Well, one day we're walking to school, and I am nagging left, right, and center. And I'm like, hurry up, hurry up. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm going to be late for work, and da-da-da,
Yeah.
no. And the youngest one looks up at me and says, you know, I'm starting to think your batteries are just not the rechargeable kind.
Oh, dear.
And it was later that day, I was counseling. I was in my counseling office, and I was looking at my client, and I said, you know, all you need is more self-care. You just need to take care of yourself. And a little voice in the back of my head said, you fake.
How many times have you been counseling where you all of a sudden heard your own words as a dad?
Too personal. No. Let's go to this Little League syndrome. We want our kids to be successful, often to make us look good. How do we get out of that as parents?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times we want to have the glories and want to show off, and we have the pictures so we can go to the office and say, hey, look at what my kid did over the weekend.
Isn't it sometimes wanting what you never had? Like maybe I didn't have the experiences, so I want to give my kid every possible option.
And you think about the pressure, because you are pressuring your child to live the life that you never had. Really, I think as parents is to give sometimes some space so they can create their own life that they have a hand in. Not that you are pushing all the way along.
But you have some kids that are overachievers and they can take the pushing, some are underachievers, and you create all kinds of tension. You know, what do you do with those kids that are not quite as motivated?
Well, and that's a real challenge. When you have someone that's not motivated at all, then you want to focus on what they're doing well. Because so often as parents, we might notice, but we forget to notice. So we're always looking at what they're doing wrong instead of what they're doing right.
Okay.
And I call this the dog factor. Do either of you have a dog?
Oh yeah, we've got 3 labs.
So when you come home, front door, where's your dog?
Oh, they are right there wagging their tail.
Woohoo,
Yeah.
you're home again. Sometimes you can just take the trash out, you come back, they're like, you're here, yoo-hoo.
Yeah. With a stick in their mouth.
Well, I call it for parents, as parents, if we can take some of that, and I call it the dog factor, of getting excited again for our loved ones. You know, when they're first born, it's this miracle. And yet, day by day, we start to take
Real life just kind of
for
takes
granted.
over.
Taken for granted. You know, I know what it means to exasperate. Story, my son Brock was around 12. He was mowing the lawn. And I came home and he'd mixed a big wedge in the middle of the lawn. And I said, what are you doing? I asked you to mow the lawn, not most of the lawn. Ooh. And with big crocodile tears in his eyes, that little 12-year-old said, seems to me, Dad, no matter how I do it, it's never good enough for you. About killed me. Maybe you need to go to our website and find the anchor points on fair expectations of your kids. I had to learn it. Stay with us.